Okay, so we have this really complicated design. I mean, it's not super complicated, but it's got a lot going on, and we've isolated all the pieces. You know, we've got all these different layers going on, and we need to, you know, add some decals to this cab here. So to this crane, we want to put some details on it. So, you know, there's lots of different layers. Here's our crane brothers down here. Here's our actual crane. And then there's our rigging logo and our grid. And then we've got our clouds. And so we've got all these different pieces. And, you know, what I'm going to do is, you know, just kind of group all of these and provide and call it artwork. So I'm just going to Control G and then call this artwork. I'm not sure how I feel about this black part down here. I don't need that necessarily. It's just there to kind of make it look nice. So, because the clouds layer, you know, doesn't cover the full background. So that's all that little black's doing. All right, so the idea is that we need to now like group the crane. So here's our crane. And I'm just going to take these two layers. This is the exposure layer that's clipping. So all that's doing is like kind of darkening that up so that it kind of looks better against that background. I'm going to group these two. I'm going to hit Control G, and I'm going to call this crane. And then we've got these decals. I'm going to bring those in. And so here's some, these are like some decals that have been, that need to be added to the crane, to the side of the crane. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. I'm just bringing those in so you can see them real fast. You know, we're actually going to separate these pieces and work with them in Inkscape. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that layer. All right, let's look at this in Inkscape. Okay, so I've traced them in Inkscape, and I separated this into another layer on another SVG, and I've trimmed it and saved it. And now we're just going to roll in here, and I'm just Control plus to zoom in, and we're going to get this. We're going to try to add. Ooh, it's really tough. But they want this to say, you know, 0.1 SX after this text here. So we're just going to try to fix that. So let's grab these pieces. All right, let's make sure we have contiguous checked. And this is just such a tiny detail on the side of this crane. I don't think anybody's ever going to see it. All right, so that's not working for us. Okay, so let's do this. Let's take a snapshot of this. We're just going to grab, I'm going to select the crane layer. And I'm just going to grab just this part of the text. And I'm going to copy it. And we're going to our trusty ChatGPT, and I'm just pasting that. And then I'm also going to try. Well, no, I'm not gonna push ChatGPT, right? I'm just going to do Control. Let's grab this. Hang on, I thought I saved that as Crane SX. I've lost my stuff. Here we go. I'm just gonna export this as PNG. And that's fine. That size is fine. We're just working with real small things. What we're asking chat to do. Nope. Come on, Mike. Add your photos. There's your thing. So I'm going to tell it that the entire model number is... We're working with a bunch of piecemeal photos like this. So the entire model number is this LR 1300. Let's make sure LR 1300 0.1 SX. Yeah, the entire model number is LR 1300 0.1 SX. All right, let's give her this other reference image right here so she can see that. All right. I need a black and white, crisp, clean version. Rendered orthographically of the entire model number in one piece. Set it up for vector tracing. Oh, I really mangled that word. Orthographically, that just means flat, right? It just means render it flat. Set it up for vector tracing. Black against white. Not leaving anything to chance there. Hopefully she can pull this together. It's a lot to ask. Well, she's really thinking about it. She's got a lot of, I saw a lot of stuff flash through. It really, I think she's picked it up. Works for me. So, we obviously could have gone and found this font and typed it out, but this solves the issue. All right, so let's just work on that one piece. So we need to find a way to remove this. Okay, so let's get this off of there. So we could paint it out. What I want it to do, though, I want it to be real precise about letting it know that I'm just trying to get rid of these letters. So I'm just going to be pretty picky and go right around it. Like, the tighter I think that I make this selection, the more it's understanding like what it's trying to get rid of. So I'm just going to go right around it. I'm being a lot pickier than I normally am because I'm trying to get it to preserve this track. I mean, I can obviously paint that back in, but we'll just see if it can't, preserve this little crack here. So we're just selecting all of this. I'm kind of going around each letter. I got a little lazy there. All right, and we're just going to hit remove. And so Photoshop's little Gen AI is thinking about that. And it's done a terrible job. So we're just going to paint it anyway. Let's see if we can heal it a little bit. Let's grab our healing brush tool. So this is our spot healing brush. Let's just see if it'll heal it. Yeah. What a pain. All right, let's see if we can just... Yeah, it's just making it muddier. All right, let's paint it. So we're going to grab our brush tool, B for brush, make it a little bigger. We're going to make it nice and soft. I love a soft brush. And we'll just start picking up. Whoa, I'm not understanding. Oh, the exposure. Here, let's turn that exposure off. Maybe that exposure was why it looks so bad. Hang on, let's Control Z. Yeah, all right, we're cool. All right, let's heal this part. It's because that exposure's clipped. So we'll just clean that little mess up there. A little of this grunge, though, looks authentic. I just don't want it to be evident that we remove stuff. And it's done a pretty good job preserving that crack. That's what I was worried about. Okay, now let's put it on. So let's just grab this piece. And it's so small, so I don't think we need to worry. We'll just go into this. We'll have contiguous off. We'll select the black. And then we're just going to Control C, Control Shift V. We'll delete this layer. We'll trim it, image trim, transparent pixels, and we'll save it back. And then we'll go to our, here we go. And then we're just going to do a blending options, color overlay, make it black. And it's a smart object, so we can shrink it and expand it again without fear. We'll just put that thing, gosh, this is, this was my concern is, from an artist perspective, like this is like really, it's going to be very hard to read. But we will stick it on there faithfully. But we want to see it. So let's just tilt it to make it kind of follow this path. We're just going to put it up here and just kind of tilt it into place. And I guess this is coming back towards us. What I mean is, like, you know, this is getting closer to us, like the angle of this is this way. So we could just put a little bit of perspective on it. We'll do transform perspective, and we'll just make it just a little bit bigger on this edge. I mean, that's probably a little extreme, but why not? All right, and then let's try to make it as big as we possibly can. I'm going to distort it slightly so that you can maybe have a dream of reading it. And I'm just going to position it so that cracks right there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a real challenge. Let's just roll with that. That's what we're going to do. We'll hope that they can see that. Push it down. Yeah. I guess, you know, in real life it goes right over those cracks. So, yeah, we'll just kind of dial it in and say that's good. And here's our other reference image. So let's just make our SVG look like that. I'm just going to, now you all have seen it. I'm going to pull it over here so I can look at it on my other monitor. And we'll grab this, and we will hold control. In Inkscape, you want to hold control when you scale things up or transform things. If you want to respect the aspect ratio, which we almost always do. So we'll just scale that up to where it looks, I'm eyeballing it over here, it looks about right. And then we'll just take these, yeah, this spacing's a little off. We'll push this over just a hair. And then we'll take these two and we'll just align them so that they are to the page, centered vertically, okay? We didn't want that as a group, yeah, so we're good. So they're oriented right. Now we hit Control-Shift-R. And then we'll save this, and we're just going to call this keep it. Don't know how to pronounce that. And we will pull that guy in, and I think that's supposed to go right here. It looks like it's supposed to be longer, but just the way that this has been re-rendered, you know, with this ladder on the side. I mean, we're dealing with AI, and we just you know, can't expect perfection. So we'll put this on there, and we'll hit enter. So we've got that big monster on there. Control T to transform. We'll bring it way down, and then we'll just drag it into place. And I think this is their company name, which really makes me wish that that was even bigger. I mean, so if I was, you know, I don't know what the customer wants. Like, I'm not actually speaking with the customer. I'm speaking with my customer. So, okay, I think if this was my, if this was my design, I would make this really big. I would just let this be big. I would try to make it look like it's just going over this latter part. You know, I'm not real sure about cranes. I've just never worked on one or anything like that. So I don't know. I think that all that stuff's just kind of envisioned by the AI that made this artwork in the first place. So, yeah, I mean, I think that looks great. I just don't know if they're going to be okay with it because it's not, like, maybe accurate to reality. But this is what I'm going to do because I don't know what else to do. So we're just going to take this. I'm going to take all of this. We're going to put a mask on it. So here, I'm just going to lower the opacity for now. And then I'm going to put a mask on it. So I'm just going to do layer, mask, reveal all. And then I'm going to take my brush tool and just paint it like it's behind this ladder. So we'll just like paint it and we'll raise that opacity up and see how we're doing. Yeah, we need a hard brush. So I'm going to take that brush, make it hard. I've got the mask selected. I'm going to make my brush exactly the size of this rung, or really close. And that black's just going to merge in, so I'm not going to need to worry about that too much. And just paint that out. And then we'll do the same thing over here. So we're just going to take this and paint that out. Actually, I got into it just a little bit. I'm being really picky, even when I said I'm not going to be. And then we'll just paint this rung out. So we'll just Doop. Just need to trick the eye. Make it look like it's behind there. All right, and then we'll just raise that opacity back up. Works for me. Okay, I think we got it. Like I said, it's a really small details on an image. I don't think we're going to see any of that. All right, so now we can save our PSD, and our masterpiece is completed. Actually, we need to get this ready to print. So to get it ready, what do we need to do here? Let's take all of this, okay, and I'm just going to take all these different layers, and I'm going to merge that and make that a smart object. So I'll convert to a smart object. Now when I turn my exposure layer on, it's going to affect all of it as a group. Yeah, everything still looks good. And I'm still going to save that again. And then we've got this artwork layer. The clouds are all that need to be half-toned. So we'll take this off. Let's make sure that our image size is right. Yeah, so we already saved our PSD. I'm just talking out loud, talking through what I need to do. We're going to make this 15 inches. And then we're going to grab all of this. And we are going to we're going to group that. We're going to convert that to a smart object. We're going to put, whoa, that was odd. We lost that. Oh, because that was in my group. Is that right? Yeah. All right, cool. So this needs to be out of my group. Yeah, let's convert that to a smart object. And then we'll push that over. We'll just do duplicate layer on new. Awesome. And then we'll find our PSD again. I got too much stuff open. I need to close some stuff. Close. Close. Get out of here. And this guy. All the little pieces of what we've been working with. And then here, I'm actually just going to delete everything else. Yep. Let's merge this. So that made that, permanent. And then we're going to delete this and this. Okay, and we're going to halftone this. So let's just do black knockout. And I'm really not going to adjust much here. I'm going to drag this down a little bit. Hit OK. Yep, I think it's, I'd like it to be a little more. So we're going to do black knockout. Drag this down a little more. Hit OK. So there's our clouds. All right. And then we're going to move those clouds. We'll duplicate this and put it back on the other. So put that back on our crane rigging back. OK. And then I'm just going to make the canvas really big. I'm going to go 2000. And I think things are still placed the same. Yeah, I really do. And then I'm just going to do image trim, transparent pixels. And I'm going to take a look at these. I'm just going to go ahead and apply this layer mask. I'm going to take a look at these clouds and just see if I can't place them better. Let's put a solid color of black behind everything. I'm just working towards I'm probably doing this in a stupid way, but I'm just working towards, what my final image is actually going to look like. And let's take this group. Those are my clouds. Let's just move them over here, move them down. What I don't like is that, it's not centered. And I'm just trying to find a happy medium. Ooh, I like that. Okay. Yeah. image trim, transparent pixels. I took a little bit off that side. I just need to erase some of these clouds on this side. I mean, that's just what needs to happen. Let's make a fully hard brush. Grab some of this. I'm going to do blending options on this and do a stroke. And I'm just going to grab my eraser tool. I'm going to pull this over to show right where I want to end all this. Grab my eraser, make it big. Let's actually, and let's just erase this. We don't want a hard line, so we want to erase, in a way that still looks organic. So I'm just going to kind of come in here and try to fix this up so it doesn't look like a hard line. It's going to lose some of its wispiness in some spots. All right, but that's going to help a lot. And then let's do image trim, transparent pixels. So there's still something hiding out over here. Let's turn those stroke back on. Yep, that little tiny dot right there. Image, let's turn off our stroke. Image trim, transparent pixels. All right, now it's good. And let's look at it, see if it's still, oh yeah, it's still fine. Kind of wish I had some more clouds over here. It's a little more balanced, but we're going to be fine. All right, so now we're going to turn this off, and we're ready to save it. We're going to do File, Export, Quick Export as PNG. We're going to call this Crane Rigging Back. Oh, we need our dimensions. We always put our dimensions. Image size. So what is that in pixels? It's 3986, okay? File, Export, Quick Export as PNG, Crane Rigging Back. 3986 PX RTP mic. I'm also going to put half toned just so everybody knows it cannot be resized. Boom. Save. And then we're going to put that in Google Drive and share it. So you never want to send things, via Facebook Messenger. You always want to send things in Google Drive. Like if you share something in Facebook Messenger, you're just going to have problems. It's just not going to come through the right way. So once something's been done, once you have a clean, nice image like this, you want to make sure to send it the right way. That's the important part. So I hope this helps somebody that's got some tricky artwork to do. Thanks for watching my tutorials, and thanks for placing your orders with Crystal DTF. We sure do appreciate you guys. Take care.